Good afternoon, class of 2008. Dr. Jagger, distinguished guests, staff, parents, and students. Could I just start by saying, when asked to give a Year 12's message, I didn't know I'd be speaking directly after David, who's given it better than I could ever possibly hope to. And that is what I wanted to say. I'd also like to thank the boys from Year 9, 10 and 11 for their kind words about our grade and their generous praise. When I first came to this school in 2003, a lot of the senior boys were big, they were intimidating, and to a large extent that hasn't really changed. But a lot about this school has. For the Year 7s up the back, in those days, the demountable wasn't there, the basketball courts weren't there, the cricket nets weren't there, the tennis courts weren't there. Indeed, it was a very different place. Back then, speeches at assemblies were particularly funny. In 2003, there existed rumours about the building of a new library and performing arts space. Back in those days, there was a fear that it may have interrupted our HSC preparations. I needn't have worried. It's already been acknowledged that the class of 2008 has achieved quite a lot on the sporting field. But in that regard, we have been both innovative and impressive. Can I just say, first grade soccer will never be the same. First grade football, that's another thing that's changed since 2003. Will never be the same without the anticipation and skill of Lachlan Street in the goals, without Dan Campion's ability to make attackers look silly, without George Lowe's instincts up front, and without Elsewhere, Lachlan has been an impressive athlete. Michael Denny Smith and Danny Yang delivered impressive highlights down at Mackay with our last rugby game this year, just as Nick Lochner did when he got vaguely near the ball last year. Daniel O'Keefe has committed himself tirelessly to rugby and rowing for 6 years, but none can outdo the commitment of Shahar Moron, a valued member of the Opens 15 and First 8, who is so committed he's coming back next year. Despite finishing in this school's 125th year, the class of 2008 has been an innovative one. After 5 years of getting smashed on the rugby field, we realised we could just stop playing first grade and the results would improve. At Year 10 camp, our outdoor education was illuminated by the law enforcement agencies. And we've always had a competitive approach to our academic culture, which manifested itself most clearly in the CH section of the school certificate. We will no doubt return some excellent results this year, but there's always been a tradition, a bit of a larrikin tradition amongst the class of 2008 to celebrate the end of exams with a bit of noise. I always remember the exam lady insisting on one occasion that it's the boy in the blue jumper who should be applauded. David's already said a lot of what I'd like to urge junior boys and years 10 and 11 at the school to do. But every year, the person from this platform emphasises how quickly their time at high school has gone, and it's very, very true. You'll be leaving the school before you know it, and I urge you to get involved as much as you can. My personal memories are always going to stem from the bus trips to Bogabilla or Armidale or the whole grade camps. I'll always remember the camaraderie of doing 2 quick laps and faking push-ups and sit-ups with rugby players every Monday, Wednesday and Thursday afternoon. There was once given a very compelling piece of advice to the class of 2008, and that was, if you hang around with dogs, you'll get fleas. To our grade, I'd like to wish you the very best of luck with the exams coming up and at university and in career path that follows. I wanted to end this speech with a deep quote that embodied everything I wanted to say and reflected on our time at Hyde. My first thought was my favourite quote from the school captain, David Vinn, and that is, because forever is now. But then I realised it doesn't actually mean anything. So I looked for something enshrined within the school itself, and I'll leave you with this. Higgity Piggity Hoop Crew.